I want to share a thought that I had while I was driving. I know in the past, and I'm sure a lot of people, when they've read about Abraham, how God promised him that he was going to have a son. But then the next thing that we know is that his wife, I think it was Sarai at the time, came to him. He said, "Look, I'm getting along in years. Here's my servant, Hagar. Have a child through her." And so, of course, there's no record of Abraham, fighting that. So I wonder if he really lacked faith at that moment, which, I mean, it happens. And I would be easy to, read that and be like, come on, Abraham. I mean, God already promised that you were going to have a son. But, we could be like pointing the finger and not knowing and understanding what it's like walking in faith. God says, "Oh, I'm going to promise this to you." And in our minds, we think it's going to happen like in 2 days, or in 3 days, or in a week, or in a month. But really, his promises take a while. I mean, it could happen right away. But in Abraham's case, it took him a while. It took God a while for him to bring about Isaac. And so I'm sure he lacked faith at that moment and had a child with Hagar, and then a whole bunch of garbage came from that. The like Ishmael, more or less trying to come against him. And Sarah wanted Abraham to send them away because I think she was fearing that Ishmael would eventually kill Isaac, the promise. And so that's what Abraham did. But, that's besides the point. The point of this is God may promise us something, and his promises take a long time. Do we have in us the patience to wait upon that promise to be fulfilled? I had lacked faith so many times. I know God has promised me, you know, certain things. And then quite recently, he said that I will meet my wife through my ministry. Well, I don't have an active ministry. The only ministry I have is through my videos that are on YouTube. And since I'm teaching on my Instagram channel, that's the only ministry I have as well. So then I start thinking, man, maybe I need to set up dating sites for my wife to come through them. And so, am I compromising by doing this? I'm not waiting upon God. How do I know that my wife isn't going to come through a physical ministry down the road? But, I don't know. It really takes seeking God. But am I compromising by getting on those dating sites? You know? So I could easily point, oh, Abraham's lacking faith. He's getting with Hagar and he should have waited upon God. But really, we need to be understanding. You know, it's hard for a lot of us to be patient. When God promises something, we want this stuff to happen now. But really, in order to deal with that lack of patience, we need to be in the presence of God. And that's something that I had not done. And so I start reacting through the flesh, making decisions apart from God and reaping the fruit from that. And so, through the whole dating sites, I witnessed a lot, and it's really proving the point that the only way it's going to happen is down the road. I mean, it could happen through those dating sites that I could meet my future spouse, but as of now, it really doesn't look like it. So, have you done that? God has promised you something, but you're thinking of how it's going to happen with your logical mind. And it reminds me of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. And that is what we do wrong, is we try to figure things out with our finite minds, with our logical minds, and completely dismissing the impossible in which God works through. So I just wanted to share that thought with you. Maybe you yourself God has promised you something, but you're thinking of how to take care of it by the logical way. So I would just suggest, all of us really taking the time to listen to God about the specific areas of his promise, waiting upon him to find out, Lord, what's your timeline with this? If he's going to reveal it to you, how do you want me to deal with this situation, God? So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for taking the time to watch.